don't know if you've ever thought about giving away all your yarn and hooks and giving up crochet forever, but here's 5 legitimate reasons why you should quit crochet and what you can do about it instead. It can be easy to want to quit sometimes. I think we've all experienced that at different points in different areas of our life. But today I've got a few reasons that do make people want to quit crochet and a few things that we can do about it. All 5 of these reasons are totally legit reasons why you should give up crochet if it's really bothering you, but I've got a few counterpoints here to help you work through some of it if you find one of these is just tugging at you a little bit and kind of bringing you down. They're in no particular order at all. But the very first thing that might make you want to quit crochet is that you find yourself getting frustrated, like really easily. Anytime you start a new project or pick up a different type of yarn, if you just have a hard time making it through a pattern or a video, oftentimes this means that you're trying to do things that are a little more advanced. And you need to take it back a notch and really work on some of those boring basic concepts. And the great thing about it is there's a lot of projects out there that utilize very basic stitches and are small projects. And you can really master some of those skills making these small projects and at the same time getting like a sense of accomplishment because you're completing small projects and kind of cranking them out a little bit. Because when you're frustrated easily, it's an indication that either the project is way too advanced for you, the stitches might be too difficult, the size of the yarn, whether it's too large or too small, or it could also mean that the yarn you're working with is a tricky yarn. Believe it or not, there just are yarns that are a lot trickier to work with than other yarns. And a lot of times they're like really fun novelty yarns that kind of pique our interest and lure us in. So I know I have been tricked by them before, but it could be that it's just you need more advanced skills to work with the yarn, the pattern, the size of the hook, all of those things. So take it back a notch and work on some of the basics that you find yourself getting frustrated pretty easy on and master those before jumping back into some of those other projects. There's nothing wrong with taking a short break. You don't even have to, don't destroy the project. Just set it aside and come back to it later when you feel like you do have those basics down a little bit more. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you are bored to death crocheting, chances are that means you are understimulated, meaning that the project is probably too simple for you and you're just getting bored doing things that aren't challenging. And you probably need to bump it up a little bit and look for some more in-depth patterns. And I've had videos where I've talked about how I like to do simple projects that are a little below my skill level. I'm not getting bored with it. I just like to do things sometimes that don't challenge me, because if I'm crocheting after a long day at work, I'm doing it to kind of wind down and relax, which would not really apply to this. But if you are bored, you should probably look for something that is more engaging. Push yourself a little bit, find some different stitches, or work on a project that has a lot more rows in the repeat. Maybe find a pattern that uses a smaller yarn and a smaller hook size than you're used to using. All of those things can really make it a lot more interesting and cause you to have to focus more on it and be more engaged and stimulating. And I have a good feeling that you're not going to be as bored when you're really having to work a little bit harder on it. The third totally legit reason why you might want to quit crochet is that it hurts your hands. And this can be for a lot of different reasons. I mean, based on, things like arthritis or injuries, what we do on a daily basis, all of those things really do add up to what we're dealing with. But let me just suggest that there's a good chance that it could be the yarn and hook size that you're using. And I think a lot of times for a lot of us, the larger the yarn and the bigger the hook, the harder we're pulling on projects, and that does tend to aggravate our hands a little bit more. To be honest, the lighter the yarn and the smaller the yarn is and the lighter the hook I'm using, I have less problems and it's easier for me. I don't feel the weight in my hand. I don't have to hold onto the hook as tight, and I certainly don't have to pull as much on it. And I've got to say, I have really been enjoying working with some different fingering weight yarn. I didn't think I would ever like that, but it's been like a joy to work with because I'm not struggling so much. And, you know, with my job, I'm on the computer all day, and I actually used to be a hairstylist for 12 years. And so I mean, I don't know for certain, but I think I've got some arthritis in here. And to me, the lighter hook size or the lighter yarn weight and the smaller hook size have made a pretty big difference. The other thing I'll say too on that is you can try an ergonomic hook. Sometimes those can help. I have found I really avoid like a lot of big bulky hooks. I know people love like the furls and things like that, the very like long ones. And to me, the shorter ones seem to work a lot better because it's just less to handle, less to balance, and it just feels easier for me to work with. But I've also got kind of like wide stubby hands too, so it could be the opposite for you. If you have like very long elegant fingers, you might need a hook that is more like streamlined and long. You just have to figure out what works best for you and try that out. So the fourth reason that you might be considering quitting crochet is that someone might have told you that it's an old person's hobby. And while some people who crochet are old, there are tons of young people and there's a bunch of middle-aged people too. It really isn't just delegated to any one particular group. Or if it's you feeling like a lot of the projects you see are old or old-fashioned, what I would suggest is that you actually do a little more experimenting. Check out some different maybe Instagram accounts or YouTube accounts of young 20-year-old or teenage crocheters and see what they're up to. See what type of projects they make. It's not like you necessarily have to do those particular projects, or you could do your own version of those projects, but look and see how many different styles of crochet are out there. You'll find sometimes too that sometimes people in different age demographics are drawn to, you know, different types and colors of yarn. So it can be the same project, but by using totally different yarns, you're getting totally different looks, and one of those might appeal more to you. And maybe it's an issue where, you know, you're seeing people doing just wearables, but maybe your calling is amigurumi, or it could be vice versa. It could be any number of things. You just need to experiment a little bit and really explore what's out there and see what calls to you, instead of just focusing on the things that don't, if that makes sense. And the very last thing, even though I'm sure there's plenty more reasons out there that you might want to quit crochet, but the very last reason that may cause you to quit crochet that we're going to address right now is you may feel all alone. You may feel like you're the only one who crochets. And I got to tell you, you might be the only one in your friend group that crochets, but you have to understand that's super cool. And a lot of us feel that same way, and a lot of us have that problem. We might be the only one in our friend group or family who does any type of yarn work. And while it's a little bit of a bummer not to have someone in real life to chat about stuff with, take advantage of all the online communities there are out there. There are so many people who crochet that have similar interests to you, and You can find them just by, typing things in on YouTube, typing it in on Google, looking at maybe different Reddit groups. There's Discords. Check on pattern sales site and, see if some of your favorite designers might, have an Instagram page you can follow and see the other accounts that follow them. And it's just one of those things where you can keep looking and diving a little bit deeper and networking a little bit more and find those people online that we just don't have access to in real life. So I know this is kind of short and sweet here today, but I just wanted to talk to you if you were feeling a little bit down in the dumps and feeling like maybe crochet wasn't for you. Now, this all being said, if you've tried all these different things and you're still just not interested, or if you look at a basket full of yarn you've got and you get like a pit in your stomach thinking about it, then maybe you really should think about trying out a different hobby. But I would encourage you just hang on to your supplies a little bit longer, put them off somewhere where you're not seeing them every day so they don't like make you feel guilty or something, and try out other hobbies and see if maybe in time, in a year or so, you want to come back to yarn. But if you've already done that, maybe reach out, see if there's a group in your area that does charity work and would like the yarn donations, or take it to a thrift store that you trust and you like, or just put something up on your Facebook page or whatever social media you use and be like, hey, does anyone nearby want this stuff? And then at least you can kind of make lemonade from the lemons and move on and enjoy a hobby you really do love and are passionate about. So I am going to jump off of here, but I just wanted to thank you so much for being with me today and giving me this opportunity to talk yarn with you. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.